which is quite a stroke of genius, because in that singular creation, Anu managed to contain existence in a way never dreamed of before, where everyone was actually contained as themselves within a container, a system, which they didn't even understand or could never understand, because they are forever busy in conflict with themselves. They are the ultimate polarity that creates themselves. And within that, obviously, simply created the splits and polarity, which was the things from sexuality, for instance, because that is one of the ways that the higher forces could be contained as an expression and an experience, was to contain or build a point of desire to experience or express it, which is sex. And the method or the mechanics or the methodology or the goodies with which to actually access it, to let it build up to a point where it can be taken to a higher level of expression, so that one can experience this peculiar elixir of life that was discovered in energy called the Kundalini. Orgasm. Wonderful stuff. I mean, the ultimate drug of existence was discovered. And it became quite a play to make sure you had this drug in a ready, steady supply. And no matter who you have to spite, as long as you have your free will to get your injection, your orgasmic expression, you will do it at all costs. So, knowing that that is the inherent point, all Anu had to do was create an infinite path, which was created, as we explain it in the Deception of Infinity, how the infinite path was created so that there is no beginning and no end dimensionally, and that you are actually moving through multiple lives in which you are experiencing yourself around, fascinatingly enough, your free will within the context of your spitefulness, which caused you to keep on moving in exactly the same cycle. You're not really having to be contained, because you're containing yourself within the principle that you want to be right at all costs. And because you want to be right, which is impossible under the primary law of the universe, which is balance, you are always taken to the point where you are wrong, and therefore you are continuing then attempting to move back to the point you are right. In that you are creating energy. The energy that you require, you use. The excess energy was then siphoned off and sent to heaven, which gave heaven all the power over earth to direct it and implement ways of containment and control of this beast that's been let loose on existence, called man, as spitefulness. Because man, in spite of what man could be, because imagine, you are, in spite of it all, you are actually creating this reality. Every single thing that exists here, from the bug to the plant to the animal, every single thing and the very nature that exists here is actually your own nature. That is an expression. How does that work is quite fascinating, because in the nature of how a planet operates, its inhabitants, that which is from the planet, determines the outcome of the planet, because it is that part of the planet that interacts. By inserting the mind consciousness system, the principle of thought, spitefulness, and free will within the being, through the physical, they could actually direct what is created in the physical. So in the first 7 years of a child's life, the child is pre-programmed both through genetics, DNA, and through the influence of environment and the principle of structural capturing, which is the point of seeing, and a point of structural hearing, which where you hear, to place into containment and design that which is required within the physical to keep the being occupied within the principle of spitefulness by feeding it constantly conflicting ideas and principles that unbalance their existence, so that they may never question where they are, who they are, why they are, and what is going on. And within that, then, eventually what manifested, obviously, was the very system, which is as you see today: television, machines, motor cars, everything that you find today, the electrical grids, the forces that is here within the laws that is here. Have a look. You can't unbalance them in a way. They are balanced within the principle of your own fear. Your own fear, which is inherent, your distrust in each other, and the principle that through spitefulness and power, a fascinating thing has been developed. A control which is based on compound interest, which is based on compounding, which is based on genetics, where genetic lines were placed specifically within a principle of from father to son. Control was built in. And that was done under the principle that there is apparently a God which stands and takes responsibility for our spitefulness. Therefore, eventually, by doing that acts that is prescribed, this God will absorb us from our spitefulness, and that we are acting in the name of this God, and that this God in its very nature is spiteful, as you would read it is written. Which then, for those that follow this God of this reality, they would be the special ones that is protected, that is promised a special experience after death. But in that, obviously, a peculiar problem emerged, that those that followed this particular line of free will, spitefulness, would deliberately destroy the earth, the source of everything that they exist as, because they would see it as unimportant, because what is really important is only after death. Why was that done? It's because the real power was in the physical. How do you make sure that the real power will never be used? You make everyone believe that the real power isn't here, and that it is here after. Now you're here and you're living for the hereafter. Automatically you have no power in the here, because apparently you'll be having power in the hereafter. And then what happens is, when you reach the hereafter, that which you are and were, which were programmed, unfortunately, which is your physical body, that was creating the reality as you see it around you, the real power of expression of God, of creation, is no more, and what remains is that spitefulness, the thoughts, that which existed inside you in secret, the part you call you, the part you call your free will, the part you call your choice. That's what remains, and have a look to what degree you're dishonest about that. I mean, that is your absolute guideline in your existence. That is the point where you apparently make up your mind. It is where you apparently make a choice. It is where you apparently decide what are you going to do with your life.